Matt Fortuna joins us. College football weekend approaching again. Reporter for The Athletic, covers college football and plenty to talk about for sure. Matt, Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado in Albany on ESPN Radio. Good morning.
Thanks for having me, guys.
What's up, Matt?
Appreciate it, Matt. Let me just start with this. Is there anybody remotely close to as good as Alabama?
Maybe their second team.
Good comeback on that,
where
man.
We are right now. Obviously, there's a season to play out. Georgia had these guys by the you-know-what last time they played, and they'll probably get a rematch in Atlanta in the SEC title game, so I don't want to write anyone else off just yet. But certainly the Tua Tagovailoa era at Alabama has taken this offense into another stratosphere. They've put up 50 points in their first three games, the first SEC team to ever do that. They already had a dominant defense, and they just seem to be getting better and better. So clearly they're the front runners. I wouldn't rule out Georgia, Clemson, or maybe another team or two just yet, but everyone's going to be gunning for Alabama, certainly.
All right, let's get to some matchups coming up. Let's fast forward to the weekend, and really a Friday night game at 9 o'clock where number 10 Penn State goes to Illinois. Now, this is the week before they will play Ohio State. And
trap game,
everybody, might be at Illinois. And everybody wants to see Ohio State, Penn State, both teams being undefeated. Can the Nittany Lions go to Illinois, not overlook them and look past them to Ohio State?
Yeah, I saw Illinois up close last week against South Florida, and that was a game that, frankly, they should have won. They were up 12 points in the fourth quarter with a backup quarterback. It's a much better team in Lovie Smith's third year here. I mean, they have gone from just kind of trying to piece a roster together to a functional, formidable football team that probably won't win more than 4 or 5 games this year, but is at least going to have a chance, a puncher's chance in a lot of those Big Ten West games against everyone, probably outside of Wisconsin and Iowa. I think they're probably going to get killed this week against Penn State. I know there's the quote-unquote trap game, especially the Friday night, and with a very late start, especially if we're using the time difference on the East Coast. But Penn State just has too much firepower on offense. I mean, they might come out starting slow, but at the end of the day, that team's just too good for Illinois to keep up with.
Matt Fortuna with us here on Big Board Sports 104.5, the Team ESPN Radio. Check him out on Twitter. Matt_Fortuna writes college football for The Athletic. And I'll throw a plug in here, Matt. I was on The Athletic subscription almost really from the jump, but I just sent a gift subscription. You can get this thing for 50% off at a lot of places, 30% at worst. I highly recommend it if you're a big sports junkie like many of the people listening to this show. Matt, are you
really appreciate that?
Yeah, man, it's worth the money. Trust me. We had Matt Barry on the show yesterday, Sports Center anchor, who is an Arizona State alum and had a sit down with Herm Edwards prior to this season. I'm a little surprised at how quickly this Sun Devils thing has seemingly turned around. Are you impressed by what Herm Edwards has done so far?
I am, although they kind of came back down to earth a little bit last week at San Diego State. There was a hire that had me scratching my head, as I did many others, I believe. I felt all along that if they were going to fire Todd Graham, the guy they should have hired was the guy the rival ended up hiring, Kevin Sumlin, who has recruited that area very, very well over the years. Obviously, I guess I'm an idiot because it hasn't exactly worked out that way so far. Arizona has been struggling while Arizona State, despite last week's loss, has impressed a lot of people, especially defensively, the way they were able to bottle up Michigan State a week earlier. So it's a wide-open Pac-12 South. I've been very impressed early on with what Herm Edwards has been able to do. I wouldn't give out any contract extensions just yet. I recall an NFL guy who made his way to Notre Dame that got off to a quick start and ended up being fool's gold, and a lot of gold, I should say, $19 million's worth to get paid to not coach there. But so far, so good. I've been impressed, and I've been eating my words through 3 weeks at Arizona State.
A team that I've been impressed with so far that I wasn't sure would be able to produce the wins that they have, starting right from the get-go, is LSU.
Oh, no doubt.
Where do you stand on LSU? Are they for real in the top 10, top 5 teams in the country?
I mean, through 3 weeks, you're not going to beat that resume. I mean, they have 2 top 10 wins away from home, and you have to applaud them for both scheduling up and for batting down the hatches, not listening to what anyone else is saying about them, and going out there and playing football. I mean, I was one of the many skeptics of Ed Orgeron coming into this season, especially with that schedule. But they have gone in. They thoroughly dominated Miami. They had a great comeback against Auburn, and what frankly wasn't the best play game for them offensively through three quarters. I mean, they really all came together in the fourth quarter, put Auburn away at the end there. I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen from them so far. Does that mean they're going to beat Alabama? Probably not, although I don't think anyone in the SEC, at least in the SEC West, is going to beat Alabama. But LSU does have a three-game stretch midseason here where they play Mississippi State, Georgia, and Alabama. And that's going to be very telling. I think if they win even one of those games, they might have the right to call themselves the second-best team in the SEC when it's all said and done this season. I still think this is a 9 or 10-win team at best, given that schedule. But, hey, with the way they've played so far, with the games they've won so far, they have every reason to think that they've got at least a puncher's chance against Alabama and a really good chance to win every other game this season.
Matt, I know we're only a quarter of the way through the season here, but if Alabama is head and shoulders above every other team in the country, is Tua head and shoulders above every other player in this Heisman race?
So far, yes. I mean, his numbers are almost on par with everyone else, and then when you break it down and realize he's basically not even played two full quarters in most games, it's really staggering, especially those third down numbers. He's 13 for 13 passing. I think on 20 of his total or 14 of his 20 total drives have resulted in touchdowns. The offense is just at another pace when he's in there. I do wonder, maybe he'll sit so much and he won't have the chance to put up the numbers to really make that Heisman statement. And frankly, a Heisman frontrunner label after week 3, as we've seen so many times before, is usually a kiss of death. I mean, the Geno Smiths and Kenny Hills of the world, you can nod their heads in agreement at that statement. But seeing Alabama not just be the Alabama of past, but an Alabama that's putting up 50 points a game, I think that is, right now at least, is enough to open up so many eyeballs around the country and have people realize this isn't just same old Alabama. This is Alabama with maybe the best offense in the country, and maybe the best player in the country at quarterback. That has really added another dimension to this team.
Matt, I know it's early, but let's get to what is going to be the huge headline game next week. It is going to be the game, and that is Trace McSorley, who's got to be considered in that Heisman Trophy candidate race. And Penn State at home, they've already moved the game to 7:30 at Beaver Stadium, a whiteout, 108,000 people. It'll be rocking, and here comes Urban Meyer at Ohio State. How do you see that game? Who do you give the edge to, at least right now, early on? How good are the Buckeyes?
I think both teams are very good. Ohio State is more talented, particularly up front. It ended up being the difference last season. But you never know. I mean, it's going to be Urban Meyer's just second game back. Penn State will have the extra day to prepare, having a game this week. And Ohio State, frankly, is up against a Tulane team that, while it doesn't match it talent for talent, runs a really difficult offense with some option-based principles that really wear on you and sometimes take a couple days to really help you get your legs back under you when you go back to playing a more traditional offense. So the combination of all that, the whiteout at Beaver Stadium, has helped keep some lesser Penn State teams in games they had no business being in, mainly 2014 when they took the eventual national champion Buckeyes in double overtime. I think all the intangible factors match up in Penn State's favor, but I do think Ohio State is the more talented team where it matters most, both up front and in the offensive line. So early on, I want to give the edge to Penn State. I would like to see Ohio State at least one game with Urban Meyer back on the sidelines before I see how these guys are clicking. But I certainly think the winner of this has the inside track both for the Big Ten title and in the quarterback case, potentially make it to New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
Matt, great work as always. We enjoy it in the athletic, and we love talking college football here on Big Board Sports. And we'll get back in touch, I'm sure, as we continue forward here with the college football season.
Anytime, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks, Matt.